Welcome, everyone, to San Diego Sports Talk, the John Kentera Show on YouTube. Welcome as we get ready for a big weekend for our San Diego Padres. We've got a lot to cover today on the program. Padres up in San Francisco, a big three-game series before they come home for their final homestand of the year against the Houston Astros starting on Monday night. And then they'll have an off day next Thursday and get ready to play the woeful Chicago White Sox. We're going to get into San Diego State. They're on the road this weekend at Cal. We're going to talk about the big announcement earlier this week regarding San Diego State, Colorado State, Fresno State, and Boise State. In 2 years, going to head to the Pac-12 with Oregon State and Washington State. A lot to talk about there. We're also going to talk about a big fundraiser Saturday night in San Diego to raise money for underprivileged children at Washington Elementary School. And we're also going to have a coach's mailbag today. I really appreciate you tuning in. And if you've not subscribed, man, we're working our way towards 2,000 folks, 2,000 subscribers. If you would, please subscribe to the channel. Would very much appreciate that. And of course, you can write comments in on our different podcasts that we've had and go back even a few weeks ago. Go back. We've been pretty good about predicting things for the San Diego Padres about roster moves they may make. And we talked about the latest one, moving Xander Bogaerts from second back to shortstop. We called that well before the Padres made that a final decision. But again, you can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera 44. And again, please subscribe to our program, and we thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day and personal life to share a few moments watching our podcast. Okay, I want to let you know where the Padres are at right now, getting ready for this critical 15-game stretch. They got 15 games left. They got 3 this weekend in San Francisco. Then they come home. They got 3 against Houston, 3 against Chicago, and then they finish up on the road against the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Padres right now are sitting at 82-65. They're in third place right now in the National League West. 5.5 games back of the Dodgers, a half game back of second place Arizona, and right now the Padres number 2, a half game back of Arizona in the National League Wildcard. New York Mets right behind them, Atlanta. Going to be a very interesting weekend. We'll talk about that a little bit later on when we get to the standings. But I want to talk about Wednesday night. Wednesday night, after the Padres won game 1 on Tuesday against Seattle, they came out and they had a good pitching matchup. Michael King going against rookie right-hander Bryan Woo. Bryan Woo got the better of Michael King and the Padres, but Michael King didn't pitch bad. Yeah, he got himself into a little bit of a pickle there in the third inning. Could have avoided really any damage, but Cronenworth, unfortunately, there at second base trying to, speed his hands up, trying to turn a double play, ended up dropping the ball, and they said he wasn't, exchanging hands, and I thought it was a good call. They replayed it. I thought it was a good call. It was an error. You got to catch the ball. Number one, you don't want to catch the ball in the web of your glove. You want to catch it in the palm so you can get it out a little bit quicker. Sometimes when you catch the ball in the web, the ball will get stuck, but you catch it in the palm, you can get it out a little bit quicker. But, hey, Jake made a mistake. He's human. Arizona, or I should say Seattle, went on and, capitalized on that. They got a couple of big hits. Cal Raleigh, a 1-out RBI single to right, made it 1-0. And then Luke Raley, a 2-out, 2-run single to right. And Michael King, he wasn't as sharp as he's been, but you know what? He pitched fine. 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, only 1 of them earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, threw 90 pitches, way too many pitches in 5 innings, 90 pitches, 57 strikes. Takes the losses record down 12-9. ERA, though, goes down to 3.06, came in at 3.10. Michael King's pitched very well. And if the Padres are able to hang on, get to the wild card, I would think Michael King got to be a guy you got to look at seriously for throwing game 1. I know when you look at the stuff, and I think King's got really good stuff. Dylan Cease can be the most dominant of any of the Padre pitchers, but he's been so up and down. He's going to pitch Friday night against Logan Webb. We're not going to see Blake Snell, thank good. We're going to see Blake Snell at all in the series. But Michael King pitched well enough the other night. And then they went to Adrian Morahone. He had kind of his struggles the other night. 2/3 of the inning, gave up 2 earned runs, a hit, couple of walks. Really didn't have good command at all. Brian Hoeing came in, looked good, inning in the third. Wandy Peralta came in, finished up throwing the 8th inning. The end of the day, Padres couldn't hit Brian Wu. I mean, the guy retired the first 19 batters the other night. He gave up his shutout, his no-hitter, his perfect game with 1 out in the 7th, a laser beam. I don't know if I've seen a ball hit harder on a straight line all year. They said Fernando hit that ball at 115 something miles an hour. I just know that ball got out in a heartbeat. I mean, that was an absolute bullet. And of course, earlier in the ball game, Fernando robbed a home run. He looked good the other night. And I worried a little bit when he made that catch against the right field wall, going up over the wall. I worried about banging into that wall with that right hip. But, so far, so good. But he's not going to be 100% at any time this year. And I know at this time of year, not anybody's 100%. I get that. But Fernando's coming off a pretty significant injury, and you got to handle him with kid gloves. And every once in a while, you're going to maybe have to give him a day off or at least let him DH and not roam the outfield. But that was a great catch, and, man, just a laser beam home run. But really, the Padres did nothing. I mean, Brian Wu was fantastic. 6 2/3, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, 5 strikeouts. Improves to 8-2 and a 2.38 ERA. It wasn't like this guy hasn't pitched well this year. He's pitched very, very well. I wanted to mention Luis Arise a little bit. The other night, Arise found a way to get a hit. 1 for 4, hitting .317, leading the National League in hitting. We talked about it in our last podcast. I mean, he'd really have to go into an absolute tailspin the last 15 games not to win the batting title, or somebody'd have to just get, really, really hot. I don't see that happening. He's not striking out, putting the ball in play, giving himself an opportunity to get on base. And not only that, I was looking at his on-base percentage. He's getting on base 350. I mean, his clip is 350. Now, Jurickson Profar, on the other hand, Jurickson's scuffling a little bit right now. 279 is not, done a great job. He had a really tough August. Hit under 200 in August, struggling in September. But the one thing that Jurickson Profar is still doing? Almost as good as anybody in baseball right now. He's finding a way to get on base. I know he's gotten hit quite a bit this year, but he's walked a lot. He's getting on base at a 381 clip right now. Outstanding. Outstanding. So just keep doing what you're doing. The Padres they got to play some good baseball here. They can't go up and drop 2 out of 3 to the Giants like they did last week. And on the year, the Giants lead the series. Giants have won 6 out of 10 right now. So hopefully the Padres can take care of business. Now, I don't know if it was a surprise move or not on Wednesday, but Luis Campusano sent to AAA. Now, Luis Campusano last year, I thought, played great baseball. He got hurt last year. He only played in 49 games in 2023. He had the thumb injury that required surgery. Well, he ended up swinging the bat really well last year. Hit .319. And I thought he'd made great strides as a catcher a year ago. And I thought he had earned the number 1 spot this year. And he did earn the number 1 spot. When they got Kyle Higashioka from the Yankees, he was going to be the backup guy. Kyle Higashioka has done a hell of a job having a career year, home runs. What's he got, 13 right now or 14, something like that? Done a good job. Done a good job of handling the pitchers as well. And Campusano came in, and then all of a sudden, he spent some time on the DL, missed 11 games, a thumb contusion, and just really hasn't been able to find his groove. Early in the year, I thought he swung the bat really well, and I thought he did a good job behind the plate. But for whatever reason, he's not doing a good job behind the plate. A little bit, I don't know if he's tired or what the situation is. There have been some balls lately, and if I'm seeing it, the coaching staff's seeing it. Gotten a little bit lazy behind the plate. And every pitcher's different. Every ball comes from different pitchers, moves a little bit differently. And he's struggled. I was looking at in the framing thing, everybody makes a big deal out of framing. I don't make a big deal out of framing because good umpires, you're not going to fool. You may be able to steal a strike here and there, but framing, you want to present the ball nice to the umpire, but you're not going to steal too many strikes. You really aren't. I don't care what they say analytically. Good umpires aren't going to fall like in Little League. You try to pull the ball back into the strike. They're not going to fall for that. These guys are too good umpires. But Campusano's gotten, I think, a little nonchalant behind the plate. And offensively, things have just deteriorated. I mean, he's hitting 227, 299 plate appearances, 277 at bats. He's hitting 227, 13 doubles, 8 homers, 40 RBIs, but not even getting on base. 281 on base percentage. So they send him down. Elias Diaz is their best catcher, okay? He's the guy that was an all-star in 2023, hit the home run in the all-star game, was the NL all-star game MVP when they beat the American League in 2023. He got DFA because Colorado wanted to look at some young guys down the stretch. I get that. I thought they could have handled that situation a little bit better. Diaz has been a pretty good contributing factor to that organization the last few years. Been around, 33 years of age, going to be a free agent. Higashioka is going to be a free agent. Luis Campusano will be arbitration eligible for the first time. And I'm looking right now, and I'm saying, you know what, Padres are probably going to be in line this offseason looking for catching. I don't know if Higashioka will come back. He may sign as a backup. He's not going to get a ton of money to be the backup. Campusano, maybe he's played his last season in San Diego. Maybe they won't even have him on the playoff roster. We'll have to wait and see. But Campusano getting sent down, they said, and they tried to cushion the blow. They tried to cushion the blow by saying, well, we just want him to get more consistent playing time. Great. Now, I will tell you this. If I'm Luis Campusano, I'm probably ticked off that the Padres are sending me down. But at the end of the day, Luis Campusano needs to be mad at himself because he didn't perform. And I think got a little nonchalant. I was never real high on him behind the plate to begin with. But then, because I'm an old coach, I watch how guys perform. I thought he got better. I really do. I thought he got better. But you got to be mentally into it. And the physical part, during the season, you get wore down. I get that as well. But he wasn't catching that much. He had to be chomping at the bit to get in there. He had to be, willing to give his eye teeth to be in that lineup a little bit more. But he's going to be down in AAA. We'll see how he deals with it. I don't know if he'll be back up. He may not be back up. Elias Diaz is going to get some work. And I'll tell you what, he looks good behind the plate. He really does. And Higashioka's done a nice job. But I think Diaz is going to get a lot of starts down the stretch. Now, with that move of Campusano being sent down, Padres made a couple of interesting moves. They brought up and they recalled left-hander Tom Cosgrove, his fourth stint with the Padres this year. He's had a rough year. A year ago, he was fantastic, but it just hasn't worked. And I know he had some shoulder problems there for a while, but they're bringing him back up. He's pitched in 18 games this year, 14 2/3 innings, an 11.66 ERA. You already got Morahone, Matsui, Peralta, all left-handers in the bullpen. You're bringing up Cosgrove. I'm sure there's a reason for it. But right now, he hadn't gotten the job done. How about this? Hitters against Tom Cosgrove this year are hitting .354, and he's got a whip of 1.98. I mean, he's putting on almost 2 runners per inning. I don't know how he helps. And unless the Padres are up by 5 or down by 5, I don't know why you'd bring Tom Cosgrove in right now. And I don't like to bag on anybody, but hey, the numbers don't lie. He's had a rough go. And then kind of an interesting move. Padres recalled outfielder Brandon Lockridge. He's 27 years of age, never been to the big leagues. Came to the Padres back on July 30th from the Yankees in the Enyel De Los Santos deal. By the way, De Los Santos got DFA'd not too far after that trade. And the Padres also gave up a young right-hander, Thomas Balboni. But Brandon Lockridge getting an opportunity to come up. The guy can run a little bit. Don't see him getting any starts. Maybe in a key situation where your bench has been depleted, maybe you'll get a pinch hit. Maybe if you're winning by a bunch or down by a bunch, you'll get an opportunity to get an at-bat here and there. But I think he's going to be a pinch runner. Guy can run a little bit, but never been in the big leagues. Again, 27 years of age, former fifth-round pick of the Yankees back in 2018 out of Troy University. And then left-hander Martin Perez Wednesday went on the paternity list. Now, he's scheduled to be the starter on Sunday, and he should be good to go. But they put him on the paternity list, and when he comes back, they'll have to make a roster move, and I would imagine that would be Tom Cosgrove going back to AAA. Okay, I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors. And, I've been out and about quite a bit this week. I've been on KUSI, and I'll be on KUSI next Tuesday morning at 6:30. I was on Fox this week on Friday. And people are tuning and asking me about the podcast. They're asking me all about the podcast, and they're asking about, man, you got sponsors on that podcast. And we did not go out and actively recruit these sponsors. They recruited us. And I want to thank them. And the first folks I want to talk about today, yourreliablehomebuyers.com. Go to their website. If you're looking to buy, sell, you want some cash very, very quickly, they get the job done. Buying, selling, financing, and even purchasing old houses with cash quick. Okay, these are the people you want to give your business to. One of the guys involved is an old radio friend, Josh Messiah. Josh has done a great job, and I was jokingly telling the people at Fox when they were asking me about our sponsors and our podcasts, I go, yeah, one of our sponsors, he used to work with me in the radio business, but he was a smart guy. He got out and doing great. And not only is he doing great because this company is just, rolling, the people that are investing with him, wanting their houses to be bought or sold through yourreliablehomebuyers.com, he's done a great service to our community. And again, I want you to give him a call. yourreliablehomebuyers.com. Their phone number is 858-422-4116, or you can visit them online at yourreliablehomebuyers.com. And again, great people. They'll get on it. Some people, they got one house they really want to buy, but they got to sell their existing house. Hey, if you're having problems, you're stressed out a little bit, get a hold of yourreliablehomebuyers.com. There's the website, and you can get all the information. You can send them a note, and they'll get in touch with you. Again, yourreliablehomebuyers.com, as good as it gets in that industry. So thank you very much to yourreliablehomebuyers.com for being a part of the John Kentera podcast and San Diego Sports Talk. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the San Francisco Giants. It's not gone well for Bob Melvin, Farhan Zaidi, and the San Francisco Giants. This is not what they expected. They're 72-75 when they start play on Friday night. They've had a lot of things going on behind the scenes. There was a big story coming out of San Francisco this week about how Bob Melvin and Farhan Zaidi's contracts are not through the 2026 season. They're only guaranteed through next season. But I don't think Bob Melvin's in any trouble. Bob Melvin's got a pretty good pitching staff. It would have helped if Blake Snell would have, signed with them prior to the start of the year. He got off to a really, really slow start. They had a bunch of injuries, and they're trying to figure out their everyday lineup. They got a lot of young players that move a lot of guys up and down from AAA this year, and they're going to have to spend some money in the offseason in the free agent market. But they do have some good young talent that are starting to get some, quality at bats. And if they can hang on to Blake Snell, he can opt out. I'm sure he's going to opt out of his contract. They're going to make probably a push to keep him. We're going to see Logan Webb on Friday night going against Dylan Cease. Logan Webb got the better of the Padres last week. Cease ended up, taking a loss against the Giants. But, yeah, not a great year for the Giants, and Bob Melvin's had to navigate a lot up there. Let's talk a little bit about the pitching matchups. Friday night, Oracle Park, 7:15, a late start. On Friday nights up there at 7:15. Normally they start during the week at 6:40. Dylan Cease going to go to the hill. Dylan Cease been up and down. Not been real sharp lately. 12-11 on the year and a 3.71 ERA. Going against Logan Webb, 12-9 and a 3.46. This is a good matchup, especially if both guys bring their A game. And again, the big thing with Logan Webb, he'll give up a lot of hits. His last outing against the Padres gave up 10 hits, 3 earned runs in 6 innings. But he'll give up hits. But he's got the ability with that great sinker to get double plays and get out of jams. And that's what he relies on, is that big power sinker. So Cease and Webb Friday night, Saturday night, 6:05. It'll be right-hander Joe Musgrove coming off a tough one last weekend against the Giants. He gave up 6 earned runs in that 4th inning after being perfect the first 3 with 5 strikeouts. I mean, Joe's numbers last week, 4 1/3, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 homers, 7 strikeouts, and again was perfect through 3 with 5 punch-outs. And then the roof caved in. It didn't help with 1 out in the 4th. Fernando lost that fly ball in the outfield, routine fly ball, and it would have been the 2nd out of the inning. And then, the floodgates opened. Joe ended up giving up 6 runs and 3 long balls in that inning alone, and only lasted 4 1/3. He'll go against rookie right-hander on Saturday night, Mason Black. We saw Mason Black, good arm, but still looking for his first career victory. He's 0-3 and a 7.50 ERA. And then Sunday, the final game of the road trip, final game against the Giants this year at Oracle Park, 1:05. It'll be left-hander Martin Perez. That's if he comes back from the paternity leave. We do expect him to be ready to roll. He's 2-0 in a Padre uniform in a 2.84 ERA. He has really helped this ball club a great deal. And he'll go against rookie right-hander Landon Roop, 0-1 in a 3.44 ERA. So there you have it. Then the Padres will be back home on Monday night against Houston. And those games against Houston will be Monday night at 6:40, Tuesday night at 6:40, and Wednesday at 3:40. Padres will be off next Thursday. And then their final game of the regular season will start on Friday night, and it'll go Saturday, Sunday. They got 3 games against the White Sox that, as of this podcast, have lost 114 games this year. Oh, man. Unbelievable. 104. How would you not be pulling your hair out if you'd lost 114 games? Are you kidding me? That's unbelievable. Okay, let's take a look here at the standings. We're going to take a look at both the National League West and the Wildcard standings. The Dodgers, they finally outlasted the Cubs the other night. Cubs gave the Dodgers all kinds of problems. Cubs won the first 2 games of that series, and then the Dodgers outlasted them the other night 10-8. But the Dodgers right now sitting in good shape. They've got a 5-game lead over Arizona, 5.5-game lead over our Padres, and then you got the Giants at 15.5 back, and Colorado 13.5 back. Now, let's take a look at the wild card standings. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about a couple of the series this weekend. There's a good look. Arizona starts today at 82-64. They're 2 games up. Padres right behind them, a half game back at 82-65. Padres sitting in good shape, but that can change. I mean, if you lose 2-3 in a row, all of a sudden you're down in 4th place. You got the Mets at 80-66, and they've played so well. I mean, they've been absolutely on fire, winning 8 of their last 10, and they had that one 9-game winning streak recently. The Braves are all banged up, but the Braves hanging in there 76-67, right on the heels of the Mets. And when you look at that, and just kind of giving you the weekend ahead, we know the Padres got the 3 games against the Giants. The Dodgers are going to be in Atlanta. They've got a 4-game wraparound series that'll finish up on Monday against the Atlanta Braves. And somebody asked me, who you want to root for here? Well, I think you got to root for the Dodgers to beat the Braves. I want the Braves out of this thing. Okay, I want the Braves out of this thing. Then you've got Arizona. They're hosting Milwaukee for 3 over in the desert. And the Mets, they got a tough weekend. They're going to be in Philadelphia, 3-game set against Philadelphia. So Dodgers are on the road for 4 in Atlanta. That, again, finishes up on Monday. Arizona hosting Milwaukee this weekend for 3, and the Mets at Philadelphia for 3. So that kind of gets you caught up on what's going on with the teams in the race. Okay, let's talk about our other big sponsor, Grangetto's Farm and Garden Supply. Great community members. They're involved with so many different things. They've been serving Escondido, Encinitas, Fallbrook, for over 70 years. They came into business 1952. And you don't come into business over 70 years ago and stay in business unless you're damn good. And they are damn good. They get back to the communities. Grangettos, they're on the board of the San Diego County Farm Bureau. They assist high schools, the FFA programs, Future Farmers of America. They'll offer advice to local gardening clubs. Just get in touch with them. They'll have guest speakers come out. And the bottom line, if you want to have great stuff around your house, you want to have a nice lawn, you want to have nice plants, you want to grow maybe your own avocados. Their avocado, I got to tell you, they're fantastic, absolutely fantastic. You want to get in touch with them. And again, the thing that I would urge, so you don't miss anything that they do, and you can really learn and become a green thumb. And I'm learning. Now that I got a little more time on my hands, I'm learning about gardening and understanding a little bit more about what it takes. I used to love working on ball fields. And that's the other thing. Grangettos, they go around San Diego and they work with local youth leagues and high schools. They even are a part of my old high school where I played and coached at Torrey Pines High School. They consult them on their baseball field, and they can do that for you as well. Go to their website, grangettos.com, and sign up for their newsletter. Make sure you sign up for their newsletter, and that'll definitely tell you everything you need to know. Again, grangettos.com, and go in. They'll give you great advice. It's all free. That's one of my favorite words is free. Free. Grangettos.com, Grangettos Farm and Garden Supply. Again, been in San Diego County for over 70 years. Started back in 1952. Okay, we're going to get to what is the big story really in San Diego this week. I've been following the Aztecs, folks, since I was a little boy. And I used to sit on the edge of my bed on Sundays, and Coach Coryell would be on Channel 10. And he would be doing the Don Coryell show. He'd be sitting there with his white short sleeve dress shirt, his tie on, 8mm film going back and forth with the host. And that's how long I've been following the Aztecs. And when I played in high school, I played for Coach Cliff Kenny at Torrey Pines High School. Just about every assistant on that staff had played at San Diego State. Daryl Nogel, who was a good friend of mine, Daryl passed away a few years ago. He played for Coach Claude Gilbert. So I've been following the Aztecs forever, and I was coached by a lot of ex-Aztecs in high school. They're my school. I didn't go there, but they're my school. I was a season ticket holder to Aztec football when I was 20 years old. And I still go to the games now. I'm one of the very few media members. Aside from Radio 760, nobody else goes. It's amazing to me. You know, Kirk Kenny, Mark Ziegler, Bryce Miller of the Union Tribune, they're low. They get out there, they cover the games. The guys at 760, John Schaefer and Jim Russell and the whole crew at 760, but no other members of the media go. It's amazing to me. I don't understand that. I mean, it's our job. And I don't even have a full-time job, but I still go, still a member of the media, still doing my podcast, still talking about the Aztecs. And if the media can't get excited, it's hard for me to understand how to get the fans excited. Okay. But you know what? I've been waiting for a long time. And I realize this announcement that San Diego State is going to go to the Pac-12 in 2 years probably doesn't have the impact now that it would if USC, UCLA, Oregon State, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah was in the conference. I get that. Because number one, San Diego State would have never got in the Pac-12 with USC, UCLA, Stanford, and Cal. I don't know about if the Arizona schools or Colorado or Utah had wanted them. But, you know, we'd heard this for 100 years that, oh, man, San Diego State, they want to get in the Pac-12. They were never going to get there with those other schools in there. They didn't want them in. But now that it's the Pac-2, Oregon State, Washington State, they've got to put a conference together. They've got a 2-year window where they had the opportunity to do what they're doing, and that's playing Mountain West Conference schools and, you know, kind of playing almost an independent schedule. And they had to figure out what they're going to do. And so they nibbled the cheese out there, and 4 teams bid. What these 4 schools are going to get money-wise, I have no idea. I don't think anybody really knows. Mountain West Conference TV contract runs out right simultaneously when these 4 schools will be going to the Pac-12. And right now, the Mountain West Conference making about $5 million per school per year. But the other thing, and I brought this up when I was on Fox 5 on Friday, each of these schools, because they're given a 2-year notice, are going to owe the Mountain West Conference an exit fee of $18 million. And I'm sure the Pac-12 is going to help, fund that, because San Diego State, Colorado State, Boise State probably could afford it. Fresno State can't. I mean, they're going to all have to pay $18 million to get out. And if they'd have only given them a 1-year notice, it would have been $36 million. But at the end of the day, this is a great move for San Diego State. It's a great move for all 4 schools. Now, to be in compliance with the NCAA, they're going to have to add 2 more schools. Now, who are those 2 schools going to be? Obviously people say, well, wouldn't Cal and Stanford come back? Why do they want to travel across country to the ACC? Yeah, I agree with that. But a couple of things with Cal. Number one, Cal has and Stanford, they have a deal with the ACC through 2036. And I'm sure there's a big exit fee there. I don't know if there's a one-time out with those or not. We're going to be finding out in the coming days, weeks, and months. But we've also heard about Memphis, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Tulane. I don't know. That doesn't really float my boat. But we'll see. UNLV kind of makes some sense because their football program's getting a little bit better. And they host so many different events over there. All these different conferences all want to go to Vegas. So we'll have to wait and see. We've heard about University of Texas San Antonio. We've heard about Texas State. There are going to be a bunch of schools named out there. But they got to get 2 more. And we'll see where it goes. And by the way, Boise State, Colorado State, they don't have baseball. So right now you've got, those 4 teams coming in. Right now you got 6 teams with Oregon State, Washington State, and the 4 coming from the Mountain West Conference. You got 6 teams and only 4 of them play baseball. So definitely the next 2 are going to need to have baseball programs. And I haven't looked into, deep at what other schools may or may not have. But this moves strictly for football and basketball. We know that. But on the Aztecs, they got to be excited. Going to be a lot of hard work if they want to get it done. And the reason the Aztecs have gotten this opportunity, they've done a great job over the last decade. They've done a really good job. Football program's been good. I know they're going through a very difficult time right now, but football program's done great. Basketball's been as good as you could expect. I mean, I would have never envisioned what Steve Fisher and Brian Dutcher and their staff were able to put together. It's been a minor miracle. Somebody had to write a book on the building of an Aztec basketball program. And I won't even take any royalties if one of you watching my podcast decide to write that book. Because really, it's really amazing. I mean, the Aztecs were so bad. They were so bad in basketball. And I say that because I did a lot of their games on radio and TV for years. They were terrible. And what Steve Fisher, Brian Dutcher have been able to do, amazing. And really, a young coach that gets a program that's in dire straits, you need to call up Steve Fisher and Brian Dutcher, take them out to dinner, lunch, spend some time with them and talk to them about how they went about building one of the worst programs in college basketball at the time. And they've done it. But my advice to San Diego State, yeah, it's going to cost money to make this move. You're going to make a little more, but you're going to spend a little bit more. But at the end of the day, you got to have coaches on your staff that flat out live and breathe the recruiting. Because as of right now, not a month from now, not 2 months from now, not a year from now, definitely not 2 years from now, you got to start recruiting a better athlete. You got to recruit a better athlete. I mean, they've done a good job in the Mountain West Conference, but ratcheting it up, if you want to get to, and maybe they'll give them the Power 5 moniker back. Right now we got a Power 4 because the Pac-12 is not a Power 5 conference right now. But you got to recruit a better level athlete, and you got to do it now. You can't wait. You got to make it happen now. You got to sell dreams to these athletes saying, hey, you're going to be on the doorstep of something really special here at San Diego State. And you got a chance to be in on the ground floor. Make that commitment to be an Aztec. And you got to be relentless. You got to recruit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, folks. And there are going to be some coaches that over a period of time, they're going to go by the wayside. They're not going to be able to ratchet it up. You got to ratchet it up. Every program at San Diego State needs to get better. Football definitely needs to get better. Basketball, they're doing a great job. They want to get better. Baseball's got to get better. The softball program's fantastic, but they want to get better. You got a lot of good programs out there, but you got some others that are, up and down and middle of the pack. You don't want to be middle of the pack. If you're middle of the pack in the Mountain West Conference, you're going to be in the bottom part of the pack when you get to the Pac-12. So you got to start recruiting a better student athlete as of right now. That's the way I see it. So I'm excited about this, but I'm not going to be real excited about it 5-6 years from now if San Diego State's not in the upper echelon of the Pac-12. Sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for. But San Diego State is getting a golden opportunity here. Now they got to make it happen. It's not about a cash call. It's about winning games, winning championships, and getting to the NCAA tournament, the way I see it. Okay, jumping over to college football. Kind of a light weekend in San Diego. The Aztecs going to be on the road Saturday night up at Cal. Cal right now an 18.5-point favorite. Cal defeated Auburn last Saturday down in Alabama 21-14. You and I witnessed the Aztecs shutout loss to Oregon State 21-0 at Snapdragon Stadium. The over-under on this game is 47.5. Aztecs will have to be better. I know that Danny O'Neal, their freshman quarterback, been banged up a little bit of a sore knee. But from what we understand, he is expected to start. He's been taking most of the first team snaps this week. And USD going to be off this week. They're resting up. They'll be on the road next Saturday, September 21st at North Dakota State. And the following week, they'll open up Pioneer Football League play at Drake. USC off this weekend, by the way. They're resting up before they take on the Michigan Wolverines. That ought to be a good one. Hey, I want to tell you about a fundraiser on Saturday night. I'm going the second annual Punches in Little Italy Amateur Boxing Showcase, set to honor the legacy of Hall of Fame boxing promoter and a buddy of mine, Felipe's Pizza Grata restaurateur, Bobby D. Felipe. His daughter, Michelle, putting on a great boxing event. It's to benefit the underprivileged kids at Washington Elementary School. Tickets still available. You can go to their website, bobbyde.org, bobbyde.org, or you can give them a call at 619-420-8866. Bobby D Foundation, nonprofit. And Bobby D did so much for our San Diego community, and I'm glad his daughter is putting on this amateur boxing event. They're going to have 10 bouts, 3 rounds apiece, and that'll be a fun time, and very much looking forward to attending and being a part of it. So we'll give you a recap on that next week. I want to get to our coach's mailbag here. We got, I think it's 4, and I'll read 4 little notes that I've gotten during the week. Coach's mailbag, Kenny in La Mesa. Coach, thanks so much for the podcast. After 2 games, what is your expectations of the Aztec football program this season? Well, Kenny, defense has surprised me. They're playing a little bit better than I anticipated. Offense, let's face it, disappointing, but a work in progress. A lot of new players in the program. They lost 42 players. They brought in 48. They got a freshman quarterback. They got a lot of young, inexperienced players trying to get that offensive line. Even though they got some veterans coming back, they've had to plug in a couple of new guys. It's going to take a while. I really think if they could finish 6-6, that would be really good. And I don't know if they can finish 6-6. They've got a tough schedule. They got a tough game this week at Cal. They've got a tough game in a couple of weeks on the road at Central Michigan, and then they got their Mountain West Conference schedule. So 6-6 on the year, I think I'd be happy with that. I think we need to be patient with Sean Lewis. I think he's a good coach, but it's going to take him a while to get this thing going because there wasn't a whole lot left. The cupboard really was pretty much bare here in San Diego, and then they lost 42 players, good players, mediocre players, star players, lost some guys because of NIL. Other guys just, didn't want to play football any longer or didn't feel like they were going to fit in. So when you bring in 48 new players, you're bringing in almost like a whole new team, it seems like. So there's a lot of work to be done. Okay, Terry in National City, what do you think the Padres will do at shortstop next season? Don't know. Not sure. Hassan Kim will be back. Yeah, they could work out a deal with him, but he will be a free agent. But there is a mutual deal that he could accept. At what terms, I don't know. I don't know if they'd go back to Xander Bogaerts. That'd be pretty hard. And they've already had to go back to Xander this year after he did a nice job at second base. And, I think he'll be fine there the remainder of the year. But would they go with Xander Bogaerts next year, or would they go out on the free agent market? Or would they even think about maybe putting Jackson Merrill at shortstop? That's his natural position, man. I wouldn't take him out of center field. He's done an outstanding job. It'll be interesting to see in the National League if he's one of the 3 finalists for the Gold Glove. Yeah, I've been so impressed with him. Okay, Billy in Temecula. Coach, love the podcast. When are you going to get back on the radio regularly? Billy, I don't think I am. There are very few opportunities in San Diego. And, I don't see that happening. But you know what? I'm enjoying the podcast. And not only that, we got some surprises for you here in the not too distant future. We're going to start doing some live podcasts, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really enjoying my life now. I work with some great people on this podcast. And we're, I think, making an impact. People like what we're saying because we get a little bit more information than the average bear. And I'm still working. I'm just not on the air as much. We're doing a podcast right now 3 times a week. But I don't see myself going back on the radio. And quite frankly, it'd have to be a very unique situation working with people that I can trust. I'm not working in the radio business again when I can't trust the people I'm working for. And there's some people out there that if they gave me a call, I'd certainly listen to because I have great respect for them. But I don't see that happening at all. But if it does, we'll see. But I'm really enjoying the podcast. We want to continue to grow this podcast. Okay. Well, I got one more I got. Coach, and this is from Tim in El Cajon. In your opinion, what does San Diego State need to do to be a real factor when they move to the Pac-12? Well, like I said, you got to recruit. When I was at Texas Tech University back in the mid-'80s, I was a baseball recruiting coordinator. And I'm not going to sit here and pat myself on the back, but they brought me in because they knew I could recruit and that ball players trusted me. And I was coaching with Jerry Bartow at Southwestern. I got offered the job at Texas Tech. We'd won the conference title at Southwestern. And that summer I was managing in Red Oak, Iowa. And I got offered the job at Texas Tech. They were coming off their worst year they'd ever had. They'd set the school record for losses. And I brought 3 players in particular that I brought. I brought a pitcher that pitched for me at Southwestern, had been drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers, Bill Shutt. And Billy went with me to Texas. Dave Geck, who a lot of you may know, he's in education here in San Diego, great guy. He was a shortstop at Mesa College for Bill Sandbeck and Eric Swanson. And I recruited Dave Geck, and I was fortunate to get him over to the University of Arizona. Coach, the great Jerry Kendall was recruiting him, and he was good enough to come with me and trusted me to come to Texas Tech. And Dave did a great job there and had a nice career, 2-year career at Texas Tech. And then I was managing and coaching in the summer, and a catcher by the name of Mark Booth was at Grand Canyon, and he wanted to transfer out of Grand Canyon, so he came with me. So when I went into Texas Tech as a recruiting coordinator and assistant baseball coach, I had just brought a catcher, a pitcher, and a shortstop. That's a pretty good start. Well, we have this great year. We ended up setting the school record for wins in the only year that I was there. And the only reason I got back to San Diego, because things were going really well, was the athletic director and the head coach didn't get along, and he got fired. I got rehired by Larry Hayes, who went on and had a great career coaching at Texas Tech. Larry rehired me. But there were some things that were promised to me by the athletic department that didn't come through. And I had 2 young children at the time and a wife, and I decided to come back. And I left there. So my only year at Texas Tech, when I was a recruiting coordinator, we set the school record for wins. The year before I got there, they set the school record for losses. And what I'm telling you here, and it's a great feather in my cap. I'm very proud of that. But you got to recruit. And I don't care how down and out your program may be. And San Diego State doesn't have programs that are down and out. You just got to recruit to a higher level. I was recruiting against Texas, Arkansas, TCU, Rice. I mean, I was going against all the big boys, Texas A&M. I mean, I was having to recruit against those schools. And we did a good job. But you can't be afraid. You got to go out there. You got to sell yourself first. You got to sell your program. And you got to get moms and dads to believe in you. And I believe I can recruit anybody because I got something to offer. But for San Diego State, they've got to start that recruiting now, not 4 months from now, not 8 months from now, not a year. You got to do it now. And their coach has got to believe in their product and get out there and get after it. Okay, that's the way I look at it. And again, Tim, thank you very much for that question. Okay, that's going to wrap it up. We'll have another podcast coming out on Monday. Very excited about this weekend series in San Francisco. Very critical weekend series in San Francisco. We'll see how the boys perform. And again, they'll be back home starting on Monday night. 3 against Houston, off day next Thursday. And then they finish up their home regular season schedule next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Chicago White Sox. Have a great weekend. Reminder, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And again, you can follow me, the John Kentera Show, John Kentera on Facebook. That's all you need, John Kentera on Facebook. And you can follow me on X at Coach Kentera 44. Again, San Diego Sports Talk, the John Kentera Show on YouTube. We'll talk to you again real soon. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.